It's kind of weird the way I see that we are operating, right? What I realize that both in business and in our personality, we kind of operate from a wishful thinking paradigm where we don't deal with what's going on in the world, but we come from this idea of what should the world be like? What should I be like? Right? I have this idea of who I am, and now I'm looking at the world to confirm that to me. And whenever it doesn't, I get upset, right? So if I get a response from someone that indicates that perhaps I am not who I think I am, then I get upset. Then I start doubting who I am. So I have this idea, which is more of a wishful thinking than anything. It's just a wish, the way I wish I was. And then I'm constantly looking at the feedback and trying to see if it confirms that or not, or if it denies it. And if it denies it, then I have to deal with that, right? I have to either the source of the information or feedback or thing that tells me I'm something else, I have to discredit that. It has, or they're stupid. They don't know anything. How would they know? They're haters or they're trolls. So I don't have to look at that. Because if I accept it, then I have a problem. Then I have to work at myself. I have to work at who I am or how I am, or right? I have to change my fantasy, or I have to change the world so it comes back into alignment with fantasy, or I have to create new fantasy so I can just keep on going because I've changed the story of how things work or how I work, and now both situations can exist next to each other, right? I deal with it in a way that I say, well, the actual difference isn't a real difference, or it's only a temporal difference, or it's a one-time difference. And we do that with business in the same way, right? We start the year and we say this should be the outcome of the year. And then the rest of the year we're just looking at, is this in line with what we projected? And you could say projecting is a wish, or you could say projecting is looking into the future, or right? What's the point? What's the point, or of checking reality against this idea that we had before everything happened? Where did we get the idea? How valid is the idea? And what does it say about reality? If we don't do what we projected, what does that mean? Can't we project or can't we execute? And so when I get feedback about me that I don't agree with, what's going on here? Right? Am I doing things wrong, or are they wrong? That becomes a question. Is it my fault? Is it your fault? Instead of just approaching life or everything as a way of dealing with reality. What is the reality? Where do we want to go? To that point. Okay, let's go there. Let's stop after a little while and look around. Are we going where we think we're going? What is the feedback we've received? Is it, are we operating on the correct assumptions? Are we doing things right, or are we doing things wrong? Right and wrong, it's just a judgment. It's just a relative idea about, from this perspective, in this context, what we're doing here is right or it's wrong. We're trying to make it into this absolute, where me as a person needs to have this and this as feedback so I can get confirmed that I am who I am. So I'm true, I'm real, I'm a real person with real, right? I can talk about myself. I have a life story that's true. It's not just a made up thing. Right? I mean, your life story only exists when you think about it, if you think about it. You, as a story, you don't really exist. You pop into people's life and you pop out, and then you're part of their story and they do that to you. But this consistency, or this projection into the future, right? I'm always able to deal with specific problems. So from now on, I should always be able to deal with a specific problem. And if I run into a problem that I can deal with, I'm not going to say, well, that's interesting. Let's look at why I have trouble dealing with this and see what I can learn from this and improve. No, we talk about what's wrong with me. Why can't I deal with this problem? I'm losing it. I'm over the hill. I'm confused. I've lost myself. I'm getting sad because I've encountered a problem I can't deal with, and I'm a person who can deal with problems, right? We're completely focused on this outcome thing, on this. The result of my interactions with the world is always this, and if it isn't this, then there's a problem. But interactions are unpredictable. You are unpredictable. I mean, half animal, half God, so to say. Sometimes you get angry, sometimes you don't. I don't know. What do you want from me? But if the anger angers you, then it's just a matter of time before something gets into your reality and triggers you in a certain way that you have anger. And now things aren't alright. Now you feel this stress because how you are isn't in line with what you think you should be. Right? Your fantasy isn't in line with reality. And it isn't your fantasy that's the problem, it's your reality. And what I've found is that not only are we comparing everything with a fantasy idea, we are comparing it at the wrong level. Meaning, if you look at how to deal with things, you could say, I really wish I could deal with things in a relaxed way. Right? Regardless of the outcome. The outcome is the outcome, right? You could say, I always want to have success, or I always want to have an approach of enthusiasm and positivity. These are two completely different things. Success is way less under your control than how you approach things. So if you say, I always want to be successful, you're probably going to work yourself to death or be successful for a while and then lose it and be depressed. I don't know. If you look at how you approach doing things, then you have far more control, and still you will find that sometimes you aren't enthusiastic, sometimes you aren't positive, because that's just the way things are. We are up and down animals, right? Sometimes we have control over ourselves, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we feel relaxed, and then all of a sudden we don't feel relaxed. It's not because we flipped the switch of saying, I'm just going to feel unrelaxed right now. I'm just going to be so upset. But the moment that in itself determines whether or not you are happy or in control or feel relaxed, you're a victim of everything. You're in no control whatsoever. And maybe that's true. Maybe you aren't in control of anything. But if you have this fantasy that you are, and then look at the world as a constant confirmation of that, then it's just a matter of time before you will get a signal that says you're not. Right? The trolls will come to get you at some point. Not everyone's going to like you. So if it's necessary for you to be confirmed in that, that's a very tricky situation. And I think in many regards we have this completely backwards, and we have it intertwined in everything. We're coming from fantasy, we're looking at outcome as if that's a real thing instead of information for the next action. And as a result, we don't know how to live. We don't know how to deal with life because we have this wrong mindset and this wrong approach on what we are and how this works and what is realistic and what isn't. And it's kind of a rant what I'm doing here, and I really want to come back to it and look at it more specific and a little more. Maybe I should write about it first because I want to get things straightened out. But this is the essence of the whole thing, right? We have this idea of who we are, and that is the basis for our experience. And we're not coming from who we are, we're coming from who we think we are, who we want to be. Right? We're all rich and famous, we just haven't been discovered, so to say. But then whatever happens that tells us maybe we aren't successful, maybe we aren't famous, it's like a slap in the face. Like, what? I tried to do something and I failed. Maybe I am a failure. Maybe I am, just a regular human being that needs to learn things just like every other human being. This can't be. I'm special. I'm talented. I should be, whatever I tried the first time should be successful. And then I can take credit for it. But then I wonder, what are you taking credit for? For your talent, which you haven't worked for? Wouldn't it be way cooler if you had no talent and became great at something than if you have a lot of talent and just are awesome at it without trying? I mean, I don't know if it's the movies that tell us that or it's my approach to things, but I remember when I was young, I was like trying sports and trying skills and trying just to find that one where I was like hugely talented, right? The silent girl who in the movie never does anything, and then halfway through she opens up and starts singing, and she turns out to be this supernatural talent for singing, and everybody's like, wow, you're so special. But she didn't even realize, because she hadn't been practicing for 6 hours every day and that's what it takes to be a really great singer. But we don't look at that. It's weird. It's so outcome oriented. Not the process, but the outcome, right? It isn't about feeling good about practicing 6 hours regardless of what comes out. It's about, this has to come out. that's where I invest in. Right? We don't work so we enjoy our work. We work to be successful, to get money, to be promoted, to be recognized. I don't know. But you should have fun in your work. That should be your salary. It's like I'm really enjoying myself. And as a bonus, I also get a salary. And sometimes they give me more salary, which is great. But I'm working because this is what I like to do. And it's difficult, right? Because the world is filled with jobs nobody likes to do, with companies that don't care about anything except money, outcome, right? The whole corporate thing is outcome oriented. This year we made this, next year we have to make this. And then we will all look at that the whole year. This is our fantasy. This is what we should be doing. But reality is telling us this. We have a problem. We need to fire people because reality is not working along with our fantasy. It's weird. Anyway, it's just a thing you can think about, right? Where are you paying attention to, the process or the product that is created by the process? Are you comparing things with your fantasy, or are you dealing with reality? Are you using the feedback to say, okay, how can I get better from this? Or are you using it to say, maybe I shouldn't feel so good about myself because apparently I'm not who I think I am? Cognitive dissonance. Interesting. Thank you.